Hey folks, Fernando doing another video for the More Survivalist, and in this case I want to talk about something extremely serious, and this is the kind of thing you just cannot make up. This is really as bad as it gets. Look, this is from the Twitter account of Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. Jordan Peterson, you probably know about him. A very smart, clever man who makes some wise observations, and it seems that they want to repeal the Nuremberg Code. The chief EU Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the European Commission, she is a German lady that has this bright idea of repelling the Nuremberg Code. You may be asking, what is the Nuremberg Code? Well, you probably should know about this, at least somewhat. Germans have somewhat of a not so pleasant history when it comes to involuntary testing people, and as we realize after World War II, they had this idea of suggesting people of certain ethnic backgrounds that they didn't consider human enough to some not so pleasant medical practices, so they're torturing people and experimenting on Jews. What they did back in World War II, Nazis. Well, this woman from Germany apparently didn't learn the lesson and thinks it's a good idea to say, you know what, let's get rid of the Nuremberg Code. We don't need that sort of thing. Why would you not allow to experiment on people against their will? That is kind of nuts. Let's get rid of that nasty old Nuremberg Code and let's go back to experimenting on people against their will. I mean, you would think this is insane, but in the world we are living right now, it's no longer the case, all right? So EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen calls for dispensing with the Nuremberg Code and making vaccination mandatory across Europe. It is about freedom. It really has nothing to do with medicine, science. It's basically about essential human right of, please, sir, don't inject stuff on my veins without my consent. Don't abuse my body. Don't torture me. Don't experiment on me if I simply do not want to get involved with that. It's not that complicated. It's a pretty simple concept. But this woman, this evil nationalist socialist lady, that's what Nazi stands for, by the way, guys, in case you didn't know. Nazi, it's National Socialism. So this National Socialist lady wants to get rid of the Nuremberg Code, which was specifically made to stop Nazis from experimenting on Jews. It says, point number one, the voluntary consent of the human subject is absolutely essential. That means that a person involved should have legal capacity to give consent, should be so situated so as to be able to exercise free power of choice without the invention of any element of force, fraud, deception, duress, overreaching, or other ulterior form of constraint or coercion and should have sufficient knowledge and comprehension of the elements of the subject matter involved as to enable him making an understanding and enlightened decision. This is exactly what we're not giving the right to do anymore. When you're forced to get a shot of something that you don't want to get, and you're being coerced into getting this unless you are unable to function in society anymore, it is directly going against the Nuremberg Code. That's why this evil woman wants to get rid of it. And it is insane. I mean, we're talking about insanity in the face of basic common sense, all right? Germans are already doing that. Germans are already forcing their own people, coercing them against the number one rule of the Nuremberg Code into getting this thing in their body, even though they do not want it. You're being coerced exactly, textually, specific, literally against the point number one of the Nuremberg Code. You're not supposed to be coerced, forced, or made to do something you don't want to be involved in terms of medical practice, in terms of getting experimented on your body, or just getting treatment that you simply do not agree with. Okay, it's simply that. I don't want to get this pill, this medication, this drug. I simply do not want it. You cannot force me, and you cannot coerce me into getting it. I mean, you cannot fire me for not agreeing with it. You cannot stop me from going to public places, having a normal life. That goes specifically against this. All right. It is crazy, but it's where we are right now. And this is happening already in Germany, where it happened before, where they tortured, slaughtered, and committed genocide against an entire ethnic and religious group. They're doing it again. They want to get rid of the Nuremberg Code because it's there for a reason. It's there for that number one reason, which is not forcing you into getting a treatment or experimenting with you without your consent. And they do not like that. Guys, that's where we are as of right now. I hope you are preparing. If you haven't done so already, I really recommend you get my 2 books. These are pretty good in terms of getting you ready for what we're seeing right now and the kind of conflict this is probably going to be unleashing. Because people will take this up to a point. It's going to be up to a point when, people say no more. No, you cannot, lady. No, you cannot experiment with me or with my children, with my family. You cannot abuse me in this manner anymore. We'll stand against you and stop you from doing this. You evil, evil Nazi bitch. Okay, folks, see you on the next video. Have an awesome day. Take care.